announcements. It's going to be on YouTube. Yeah, this meeting is being live streamed. What? Wow, I don't know about you all, but I am dragging. Announcements. It's going to be on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you the link if you want to watch it and then make comments because that'll be fun too. I don't care if you're making comments during class. So this is the last day. I'm a little sad. I will have to say I'm a little depressed, you know. It's a good kind of sad because I will miss you all terribly. And I'll probably start crying. Usually I have a very inspiring speech to give you, but I will say this. In many years of teaching this class, I have not had such an incredibly talented group of students. All of you incredibly talented. Your poetry has been amazing. The quality of your work has been amazing. Your support on one another, and you really should take that to heart. And if you take anything out of this class, one, you are all writers and poets. Don't stop. Don't pass up an opportunity to speak on the mic if you've got it. Don't pass up an opportunity to submit your work because both of those things will hone your pen. And I hope you've learned from the speakers we've had that writing, like anything else, is a discipline. So if you do it every day, even if it's just 20 minutes, if you keep reading, you know, then you're fine. Listen, Luddite, you're already in. You're in. You're here. You're present. Dork. Sorry, I love you, Miss Had. I said, oh, I'm live streaming, dude. Sorry. Strike that from the YouTube stream. You just gotta unmute, brother, and do the thing. Show your face, okay? So you're in. There's no password. And if you're chatting, you're in. Logic. Okay, sorry. I'm in a bitchy mood. Ooh, whoa, strike that too. Gosh, damn it. Last day of class. Okay. So submit your work. I encourage you to submit to Nation. If it's a poem or artwork or fiction, there is a prize, and hardly not that many people are submitting. So you might end up winning a $20 prize, you know, and featured on the anthology. So please do that, and I'll give you that real quick. But more importantly, in regards to the course and the direction the course is headed in, I recognize that I've taken way too long to. So partly is that I need the proper headspace to give feedback, but the others I give too much damn feedback. No matter how much I try not to give you a lot of feedback, it does. I can't do it. I cannot do it. This is my Achilles heel. But everybody's done excellent work. I was telling Malika earlier, everybody's getting A's on their poems. You've done a beautiful job with your line breaks. The stories too are all A's. Nevertheless, I want to email your grades on Saturday so you can determine, okay, maybe I want to revise this piece. Anything lower than a C, I would encourage you to revise if you need to. I'm taking late work. I forgot what date I said, but I'm taking any late work. I believe I said Sunday. Any late work through Sunday, discussion posts, you name it. But focus. What two things do I keep telling you to focus on? The two most important things. Anybody?
Cover letter and bio.
No. In terms of the course, yes, the portfolios and the workshopping, because that right there is 85% of the grade. That right there alone. All right. So please make sure that you submit that. Yes, the short stories, the poetry, those things. Make sure you elevate that. And indeed, the final portfolio requires a cover letter and a short bio. Try your best, and then a finished short story too, a revised poem, and extra credit. And you can throw in that extra credit either a scene from a play or a piece of creative nonfiction, and so that'll be extra credit. And then what else? The course portal will be open until the end of May, so you can see your grades. But I'll also be emailing you your grades. Now, if you want to submit a revision, you have until this coming Tuesday. I think I said 5 o'clock because I gotta submit grades on Wednesday. So maybe after you do your other work, if you got stuff to do for this class, then turn in your other work and work on creative writing so you give yourself that mental and physical space so you can actually write. Okay, so lots of opportunities for I don't care if y'all get an A. If y'all get an A in the class, y'all, woo, hello, handsome. What? Did you cut your hair, bro? You look really good. Yeah, you.
Thanks.
Anyway, so please, all these opportunities, take them up. If you still need an incomplete, no judgment. You let me know if you need an incomplete, okay? Any questions? Because we're about to get this party lit with Misael Juarez. Any questions? You have my number. Use it. You
Question, sorry, by workshop, do you mean that we need to post our story to the workshop section?
Yes, and give feedback to 2 peers. That's exactly what I mean.
Okay, because yeah, yesterday I looked at the short story 2 workshop and there's no like.
I know there aren't. I may just
Right,
do that
yeah.
one as extra credit, you bunch of, I mean, I love you guys. So just do short story 1 and the poem, and that'll be fine for me. If you do short story 2, I mean, amplify it, dude, because you guys are turning it into your final portfolio. And I won't count it against you, but it would be dope if you see, because I was also going to give you feedback and nobody posted. And this may be like the funnest workshop because you're all being creative and pushing yourselves to write in a new genre. So go for it, right? Post that too. How about this? Post it by Sunday and give yourselves feedback by Monday. That way I'll be grading the Bright Space post on Monday. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we should post the short story as extra credit to workshop by Sunday, right?
Yep. And give feedback. You get your points.
Okay, Fiona, I need you to post your story because I want to read it.
Right. So it's not going to count against any of you, you know, and just get her done. All right. Okay. Let me. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen and others. We have the incredible, I'm just so elated. I can't tell you what a great treat it is to have my brother Misael Juarez here. Misael Juarez is a Zapotec indigenous born in the US. He writes primarily about California, Los Angeles, and living in the city. And I just reread, oh my gosh, I'm so mad. Can I tell him what the gift is? Or you want to tell him at the end what the gift is going to be? But I just reread the introduction to My Spoken Word Wife. It was beautiful, brother. It was so well done. Let's keep that introduction. We won't change it. His book is forthcoming. I'm just looking at the edits from the other co-editor. It'll be out real soon for pre-order and available in paperback, hard copy, and Kindle. Yeah. So Misael, why don't you tell him a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My name is Misael Juarez. I'm from Los Angeles, California. My parents migrated from Mexico, Oaxaca, Sierra Juarez, back in the 70s or 80s, late 70s, and I was born in a poor neighborhood, and I picked up the ability to write at an early age. I was being told that I was a good writer, gifted writer, and so in my heart, I always wanted to be a writer. Why? Simply because I didn't like the idea of working for somebody as a young kid. I didn't like being told what to do simply because I was raised without. Huh?
No. Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
I was raised without a father, so I wasn't used to being told what to do. I wanted to play by my own rules. I wanted to make my own decisions. I wanted to do all of that stuff, but at the same time, I had to balance that by respecting my mother too. So I had to figure out what were the loopholes, and part of it was something that drove me through the streets, right? Because I didn't want to be mothered too much, and I wanted to seek adventure and seek death or whatever, because I was brought up in a gang culture, and so that led me through a lot of trials and tribulations. And luckily, after being stabbed 3 times in the back in a violent fight, somebody saw me and they gave me an opportunity to be a university student. And right there, where I remember being in an English 102 class, and I remember how much I loved it, how much I loved the ability to read a book. And keep in mind, I didn't read until I got to college. And you may wonder how I got into college if I didn't read. Well, it was simply I got through a program. They only admitted, out of 22,000 students, they admitted only 5 students as special admins, and I was one of those students. And I became very well known on campus. I started traveling. I worked with civil rights leaders, and I started doing all this progressive work, and then I got hit with schizophrenia. I don't know if Jesus, I told you a little bit about it, but I was diagnosed with a mental illness. And on my good days, like today, I'm able to present something. On other days, I'm just too caught up in the psychotic, otherworldly phenomena of whatever spirituality or whatever that is, and whatever you want to call it. And so, a long story short, trying to get back into the social viability. I started trying to figure out what's the best way to come back into community, because schizophrenia took me out of community and it put me in a whole new ordeal, put me in a whole new challenges and obstacles that I couldn't see coming. And now I'm working my way through writing to integrate myself back into the logic of the system, I guess, to be a functional person. But I don't know if that will ever be the same. I don't know if I should let go of ever trying to be the same or be myself. Anyways, that's a long intro, but what are we good on time?
So you have until 12:20. So you got like I don't even know what time it is. Somebody help me out. You have an hour and 5 minutes. So just say maybe 30 minutes for space to ask questions. And Misael is also the co-host of Radical Books and Activists. He's an amazing co-host. So if you ask him questions after he's done performing or intermittently, I'm sure you okay with that?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Were the students, did they receive an early copy of the My Spoken Word Wife?
Bro, that was a gift that I was editing this morning, and then the computer shut down because the power went out. So they don't have a copy of it. But this is what I propose. As soon as I finish, which should probably be later on, I only have like 30 minutes of work left, and I'll send them even the draft to be okay. But then when it's published, I think it would be fair game to send them a signed copy from you. And I'll pay for it because it's not, it's fine. I'll add it to your copies that I'm going to gift you. Give them your email address so they contact you. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that way they'll get their signed copies, and we'll talk about shipping and whatnot after. Yeah, but I'm excited, dude. I'm like, anyway, but I did want to make a comment though, that in part of that community, that the schizophrenia disenfranchised you from other poets and writers. And what makes me overjoyed is that even if it's a small group, bro, like you got me, you got Kitty de la Sombra, I feel like Tango's part of your community now. That you take your poetry family where you can find it. And if you don't go back to what it was before, who cares, man? Everybody evolves and changes, and I think you're a phenomenal poet. So don't let the past prevent you from being your best self in the future, your best writing self, your best performative self. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just moving on. We're like Comrade Nelson used to say, moving on, brother.
Yeah. So thank you for those words.
Yeah.
I would like to first of all welcome the future writers, scholars, the future workers, the future wisdom holders, the future knowledge keepers into this segment. After introducing myself, I have an idea. I'm trying to imagine there's a class in front of me and there's people in front of me. I'm trying to imagine you into my space and imagine you that you're on your phone looking at me and you're seeing me and you're understanding what I'm saying. So with that said, I am very proud of all you who decided to seek higher learnings, because that is something very important. A lot of people never get to do that.
That's right.
There's only a few percentage of the people in the world that get to go to college. I think it's like 3% or something.
Yep.
People that get to go to university. So that's you, and mind you, you have a whole future ahead of you. You may be older, you may be younger than me, but the important thing is you don't stop there. The important thing that I learned about being a writer is searching for clarity, searching for a clear message, working towards that clarity. Because once you have clarity in your mind, you have clarity to engage the society and make no mistakes because you're being clear. People will ask you questions. Who are you? What are you about? Where are you from? What hood you're from, or whatever, what origins, country your parents come from. But the important thing is that that doesn't matter. What matters is that you are here and you showed up, and 50% of the work is done when you show up to work. You know, that's 50% of the work already done. The other 50, you figure out what you're gonna do with it once you get there. So now you got to college and you're trying to figure out what's your next step, what are you gonna do for the summer and things like that. Hey, you know what? Have fun. Read a book. Write, especially write. If you could do something is write your heart out, write all the goals, because the better you become as a writer, the better you'll be able to help out yourself, your future goals, and you'll be able to help people along the way. And that's very important. We need those helpers. You know, but I need you to help yourselves first of all. So with that said, I would like to read my first poem, if that's okay, or unless anybody has a question before I begin.
Does anybody have any questions for Misael? Again, you can put them in the chat if you don't want to speak them, or you can speak them yourselves. All right, I guess that's a sign for us to start.
Okay. I'll read my first poem. I am a man at war with the prison system, on a lyrical mission to free the children. My ancestors teach me about how to win victory. My rhymes defeat billionaires and sucker MCs, riding with the wolves to go roll on my foes, unleashing metaphors to rock the beautiful, gorgeous, sweet, sexy nurse who works to cleanse the hurt in emergencies where we uplift the street curse by being true to ancestral roots in the booth, soaring like the bald eagle with a strong outlook over avenues and dark alleys full of sprawl, with dreamers and tigers hating up names roll call, standing under the street light where we're true and brave, where we gather to chill because we just worked all day. We move in stealth, playing oldies to ease our mood as young warriors in a dangerous neighborhood. I'm the lyricist riding with a sweet woman, dreaming the world into being like a shaman, as her melody soothes me to flow real suave and honor the duende near the sweet agave, supplying the doctor's medicine with the wolf. I'm rocking rhymes in the booth, speaking to the youth, because freedom songs inspire the young and the restless with a courageous heart when the world wants to test. I'm a speeding bullet living to the fullest, believing I'm breathing to release classic hits. Making money is a curse if your heart's full of greed. Don't respect billionaires when kids sleep on concrete. The crowd roars at my show when I let them all know. Fighting injustice provides you with a bold soul. And the word doctor is here to uplift the curse, bringing a cool sudden breeze where I spit and swerve.
Ah, that's dope, dude. I love it. That line, billionaires who can't sleep on concrete, that hit me hard. That was gorgeous.
Don't respect billionaires when kids sleep on concrete. Yeah.
That's amazing. Anybody have comments or questions, or should you keep going? You got some love. It says thank you for that intro.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Malika.
When you're trying to write, with like to get rhythm, like do you have a certain process in order to? Because it sounds a lot like a song, or I wanted to start rapping. I was tapping my foot while you were reading. Is there a process you have to get that structure, or to? That's the question.
That's a great question. That's a great question. I love that question. Any more like that? Any more questions like that? Yes, I do. In my writing, when you see it, and in the gifts you guys will be getting, I count my syllables, and I have 12 syllables, and each one of these lines is made up of 12 syllables, and this is called a quatrain, right?
Yep.
And just writing 12 syllables per line with a quatrain will give you a stanza that will allow you to read it to a rhythm that is in a 4x4 pattern. So you might hear the beat, like, but you'll be able to read those syllables within a beat, and yes, you could create a rap with it. If I would have read it faster to a beat, it would have sounded like any regular rap. And it's a practice that I intentionally did simply because I was raised by hip hop. I have a poem called "Hip Hop as a Father Figure," and
you should read that one next.
hip hop as a father figure.
I love that.
If I had it, I don't. Let me see. I don't have it, but
Kiana
maybe I have it on my mind.
Kiana says it's almost like old school cipher.
It
But
is.
not just that. You also have, see, some poets, I'm not there yet. I don't think I want to be. I'm more of a free flowing kind of, I write by the seat of my pants. That's just how it is. But you've also given each stanza a particular purpose, right? And so you'll find like for example, Masadio, he has his like opener, the middle, and the end. And the end challenges you or gives you hope, right? And that is also a structure. He's not as rhythmic or as pattern as Misael, but he's got his own way because he has learned to write to his own voice, to his own excellence. Just like Misael is writing his poetic structures to his own voice, his poetic excellence. And that's also part of the journey. But could you maybe explain what you do with the first stanza, second stanza, for like kind of what the general pattern is?
Yeah, I have. So each stanza will have a message. This was an earlier poem, but if you read the in the gift you guys will receive in your emails, I have like something catchy to catch your attention in the beginning. And all the way to down there, they all have their own purpose. So in the second one, I'll say something about the economy. And then on the third one, I'll get back into word playing. The third one, I'll say something for about my addiction to gambling and use metaphors about gambling. And then the third and the sixth one, I'll say something that pertains to women. Something that I'll say something about the economy again. Then I'll say something about that pertains to women. Then I'll say something about using business mind and metaphors to help students who are reading my poetry get into the how do I say it? Get into the rhythm, the flow, to get inspired to be business people. Because throughout my book, I have all these different types of characters who are either photographers, artists, or writers. And I have these metaphors to describe their business in a way to inspire people to be entrepreneurs.
But ethical entrepreneurs. But ethical entrepreneurs. I think that's a difference, right? And
with social justice, with a social justice thing, yes.
Exactly. It may sound contradictory, but to me, I mean, I think this is also the people, the business people who care about the earth, their customers, their small models. They're not monopolies. They're not siphoning the wealth of the working classes and everybody across the world. That's to me the difference between the billionaires and entrepreneurs that are trying to change things, right? So I feel you. In fact, let me show you this I think it's inspiring. And then I'm sorry, I'm taking over your show. I apologize. But I get these pieces of jewelry from a small shop in England. It's earth mindful. This is sea glass, and it's pretty. I mean, this dude is so dope. Like if you order once, they cover the shipping forever, right? So I ordered a necklace because I was feeling depressed and I thought it was pretty. I bought a second set, and then I bought. Oh, people are maybe watching it from the union. I bought 3 sets to give away as raffle items today to raise money for a scholarship fund. But that little model, that care, to me is different than I get something from Amazon. I get no personal note from Bezos. I get no personal note from any Amazon worker, So anyway, all right, sorry. Go ahead, hermano.
All right. So these ideas of being entrepreneurs, I'm not saying to be a capitalist.
Brother, your camera's off. I think you accidentally hit the camera button. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're good, bro.
With entrepreneur stuff, like, all right, you mentioned Masadio. Masadio makes money off selling books and doing poetry readings, and he's making a living or doing what he can to earn an extra income in a society that requires multiple ways of earning incomes because the wages are so low and the hours are so short. So we have to figure out other ways of making money. And so I was very thoughtful about that process. How, especially me as a schizophrenic, how are we going to make money if we we could barely maintain a job, you know, and that's what the study says, you know, let alone write a book, you know. So is it very important and for you guys to look at your gifts and your talents. If you're a talented writer, if you're a talented musician, how can you make a little extra money on the side to help you get through school, get through economic hardships? If you're good at making cordage from nature, like Jesus mentioned, like people are nature lovers and they're able to make clothing and hemp shirts and whatever they're making, that's a talent, that's a don. So they could use that and make that stuff. I could talk to you about the hardships of reality and economic stress all I want, but the truth is you guys already know all about that. You guys already know that. You guys lived it. You guys grew up around it. If you're under studying with Jesus, I'm pretty sure you guys didn't come up from a privileged background. You still are working class people. Maybe some of your jefitos and jefas don't have jobs or are not making it through. You know, you're trying to figure out, if I make it through school, I could be able to give them a better life. That's a different purpose than what a privileged kid goes through school. Like their daddies and their mothers had it all, and they had it all, so they don't go to school thinking about their parents. Are they going to be okay? They go to school trying to figure out how they're going to parlay throughout the world, you know, with their success. So the important thing is that I'm not trying to tell you that the world is a piece of shit, because I don't want you to think that the world is a piece of shit. I want you to think that the world is an opportunity. You could dream that world into being the one you're envisioning. You could dream yourself into being a teacher, a professor, a writer, a dentist, or whatever. You know, if you could be that person you're meant to be, that person who wasn't in your life when you were a little kid. You could be that person now. You don't have to wait for permission to get a degree, to be honest with you. You know, you give yourself permission right now to start doing what you're meant to do. And that's one of the most important things that I'm trying to do. I'm saying all this stuff might sound great and all that stuff, but I didn't include it in the book, sorry. But I'm trying to give you a little understanding about why I chose to give you a stanza of these traits, of these characteristics, so you guys can become hustlers, you know, and not suffer, and build on your talents and skill while you get through school. If anything, don't wait till you get a degree. Don't think that degree is permission for you to be able to be who you want to be. That's right. Be who you want to be right now, and see where that takes you while you're in school. And you be that hustler, you be that provider. And that's the best way I could tell you to be. The world is an economic situation that can be survived, but it takes a lot of gratitude to be who you are, to be yourself. You have to be grateful for being yourself and owning your skills and talents and what you've been through. So only you guys can tell that story. People make living becoming speakers, whether it be for feminism or working class struggles or unions or talking about the ecology or the economy or whatever. People are becoming social media influencers, and they're maybe trying to make money, or they're making money, but you could be that hustler today. And I know as students, I've been a student before, like you know, times are hard, you know, like, so you got to figure out, should I waste this dollar on the party or the gas tank, or should I do this? Should I buy this book and further my education, or should I contribute to my family who's in need of some food, you know? So those are the decisions we got to make. And so I wrote this book with that in mind, that we're playing for keeps. And the world is also our stage, like Shakespeare said. So we got to do our best performance and provide to the community. Providing doesn't mean just providing money. Providing also means you're providing guidance, wisdom, experience, questions. That's providing, because a question can make the whole crowd rethink reroute them. It could reroute them and send them to a new direction.
Yep.
And you provided a direction with a question. So providing it's not just about having money. Providing is about doing all other kinds of things. So you experience abundance in its full capacity, because abundance is not just having plenty of resources or material things. It's about having plenty of love and wisdom and light and all that good stuff that comes with life. That's abundance, you know, when it's all there. When it's all there. So you gotta see, what are you striving for? Are you striving for economic gain, or or just more wage, just so you get paid a higher wage, or are you striving for abundance, to get everything that you can get out of life? And that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Damn, I wish somebody would have told me that when I was younger.
Yep, for sure.
Any questions?
That's dope, brother. And I mean, you know, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna freaking cry. That is the most beautiful way of uplifting people to be themselves that I have ever heard. Beautiful. Hit us with another poem. Let's hear Hip Hop Was Your Father.
Oh, let me see it. You know what? I might have to improvise on this poem. I don't have it with me. That's why my screen went off. I was looking for it to see if I had it on my.
Damn, I should have recorded it, man. You performed the tango not 2 weeks ago. It was so perfect. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, hermano, hit us up with something.
You're right. I did perform it. Where did I have it? All right. Here it goes. This song is to honor hip hop like a father, because it sees us with a way to be stronger. When I wrote bars to beats to rap for the Big West, I never suggested to youngsters to floss gold, but revealed that they're kings and queens to live so bold. I rolled with the harvestry back in the 90s. Chicano raps bumped from my speakers so swiftly, but then revolutionaries came to make tracks. Like news junkies, they were inspired by the hot facts. Big props to the rappers who came to rock the stage, representing 9/11 victims being brave. They say economies will replace your child's dreams with microchips and high-tech robotic machines. I remember hip-hop taught me to stack my chips, but never taught me to turn my back on the poor kids. They compare hip-hop players with the mega rich. It's not the same when you look at the politics. Hip-hop is the father. It raised me legit. A father figure that taught me about the showbiz.
Damn, I love it. I love that poem. It's not in the collection, but it's such a beautiful piece. All right, I talk too much. I'm gushing. Sorry. Questions or comments? You're getting a lot of love in the chat about how great your work is, but to somebody and maybe fans of hip hop, what you think about that piece? They're being shy. You're getting clapped by Lita. Kiana says she really enjoyed it. Very good. Lourdes says it's her favorite one so far. Okay, go hit it, Dariana. Represent.
I have a question kind of relating to what Malika said before. When you write a poem, I know you said that you use like 12 syllables in like one line. But I was also thinking like when you're creating a poem, is the subject something that you've thought about before, or is it or do you like think of a phrase like in your head, always thinking like do you play with words in your head and then something just comes out? Because personally, like when I write a poem, I'm always playing with words in my head, like while I'm watching Netflix or scrolling through social media, and then a phrase kind of pops up and I write it, and then everything just kind of flows through after. Like it's not really like I structure it like on purpose or something like that, but like I know you said that you purposefully use 12 syllables in each line. So how does that work for you?
Well, I love your question. I feel like there's like three questions in that in your statement. Yes, I do. You know, when I was younger, I would walk around campus and I would just start, the words would just start coming in. I don't know if that was the early signs of schizophrenia. I'm not saying you're schizophrenic, but I'm saying like I would hear this chatter and or my mind would just go to a certain place and it will find like this way of playing with the words, whether I was inspired by something. I did that a lot as a college student. I did that a lot, and I missed doing that. I miss doing that. That was one of my favorite things. Like, you don't know how lucky you are to experience creativity in that way. I used to be the type of student that instead of taking notes of what my teacher was saying, I'll be writing poetry in my classroom, and I was such a bobo because I couldn't. The inspiration will come in right there and then in the classroom. So I would get my notepad and I would write on the side, and I'm writing lines and poetry like, oh, this will be cool to rhyme, or this will be cool to say, because the instruction of writers is to carry a little notebook and write down all the thoughts that you have. Whenever you get them, write them down so you don't forget them. And that was me. And that was me doing it instead of writing down the class notes, which I'm not mad at myself. I'm not mad at myself for choosing that, simply because when I read through my notes and read what I wrote years back, I feel so good. Like that little, excuse me, it means a lot. It means a lot to me, and when I start before I will write my ideas, I'll write like concepts, ideas, like once you do, then I will start structuring them into the format, my 12 syllable format. I will start structuring, I will start counting the syllables. Can I say it this way? Can I say it until it fits the pattern? And then can I say it better? And I'll go, and then the revision and all of that stuff. So that's my process as far as going through all of that stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure if I answered your question correctly, or are there other details you want to know about?
I think you just validated her.
Yeah, most definitely. Sorry, Professor. You did answer the question very, very well, actually. And it's so interesting how you also would kind of play with words in your head in college. I don't know. I feel like not no one in my family really writes poetry or like is interested in writing, right? So for me to hear that from someone else, it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one.
Yep. And you know what?
Yeah.
Just real quick, my parents were annoyed that I would read books all the time. They discouraged me from reading books. They were very upset when they found out I was still majoring in English. They got even more pissed off when I went to get my master's degree. And then when I went to get my PhD, they're like, we give up on you. And it's partly, one, they're not educated. They read graphic novels, they read novelas. My dad is actually a poet, but he didn't think it was a worthwhile career. And even now, they don't talk a lot of smack, but whenever I publish a book, I send it to them. They're awfully proud. When I send them books with my publications, they're awfully proud. But let me tell you what, not your friends, not your boyfriends, girlfriends, your significant others, not your family. They're not literary experts. They don't get to make those shots. So don't ever let them put you down. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. I'm living proof, bro. 3 degrees in English from the barrio. Rare unicorn. Owner of a press. Rare unicorn. Misael will tell you. And I have a big mouth too. Rare unicorn. So don't let anybody stop you. Yeah, sorry. Continue, hermano. You're doing beautifully.
I want to say that if you're a first-time college student, I'm guessing a lot of your students are first-time college students. Is that true?
That's true. First generation, first-time college students.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So when you bring in the books to your family, there's one thing walking through the hood. You gotta go through the gang, and you're that kid that lives in the hood, and you have books. And the kid with the books goes through a hazing, so you gotta hide your books like in the tree or in the bush or somewhere, like figure out where to leave them so you don't get hazed. But you know what? Our own families, and what I've noticed in Chicano communities, do give us a hazing, because we live as working class people. We grew up as that, seeing that all the time. And when you're in college and you're doing something, it is magnificent to them. And at the same time, there's that you get that kind of thing like, man, like I will never have these. working experience or that lingo or all that stuff. And it just comes with the territory of being a first generation student.
True.
You're gonna go through that. You're gonna feel that like isolation, that you kind of stand out, but like, at the same time, you have a responsibility. It's an automatic responsibility to walk with dignity, and now with your nariz para arriba, that's the difference.
Yep.
That you're in college, or that now you respect the work. If anything, the reason why you're doing it is because you're here because they are there. You're here in this classroom because they're there in the kitchen or in the construction site or in the warehouse or wherever they're at. You're here because of that, and you have to respect them. That's why a lot of like first generation Chicanos college students end up being like activists, end up being all about it because they get so mad at the injustice. I feel so moved by what you said earlier to the student that spoke to me earlier. But there is something about it, like, and you might get laughed at by your own family that you're studying English or poetry or business or whatever. You might get laughed at.
But putting something that I forgot, and I've forgotten them for a reason. I got that a lot too. She says, in many people of color communities, a love for books or writing is always equated to you trying to be white. I went through that shit. I went through that too in high school, and even in college. That my neighbors would tease me for getting a degree in English, and I was like, I can't show you what I would say or do to them, but I'm like, nah, man, you can't judge me, But it's true that they will tell you that, oh, you must be better than us. You're trying to be a gringa or whatever. Don't listen to them, or that you're a nerd.
What I could say about that is this. The opportunity to fight for civil rights was in the writing, was in the law professors, the lawyers, and all the gifted artists and all those articles that were written. It was through language that we were able to get our point across as minorities to have access to the type of liberties and activities and all the blessings that come with civil rights. It took the masters of language. I'm not sure who authored this saying, but I heard it from a homeboy, and he said, "To the master, you got to master the master's language."
That's right.
And the thing is that in working class people, because they learn through their hands, they learn by working with their hands-on experience, they don't see the value of using language until it's time to ask for a raise. Like, if I'm gonna talk directly to the Latino students and Mexican students, because when your parent is asking you, they're sitting next to you asking you, how do I get a raise? How do I ask my boss for a raise? They can't articulate it in English. They settle for less simply because they didn't put in that work. They may know how to do it in Spanish, but they can't do it in English. And some of them can. Some of them work through and labor because they recognize the value. You ever seen a Latino construction worker that can speak good English and they're not native to the U.S. soil? That's incredible, because they're able to clown, they're able to talk, they're able to shift, they're able to get through all kinds of things, get work, get all kinds of things. There's more opportunity with language. And your parents know that. Your parents know that. They know that to be able to speak equals more mobility. You're able to move through society, to communicate. And the language thing is a difficult thing. It really upsets me when I hear conservatives saying that, no, you speak only English in America. Like, it really upsets me, because it's like taking away the vehicle to upper mobility, to get around in society and social viability, when they say that, when they limit the country to just speak one language only. But if we're gonna speak one language, let us master it. We gotta have a few there, and it's a responsibility. It means to take care of your words, to take care of your own inner affirmations to yourself that you speak in English, to do something with the language, to move it, to mold it like you're a sculptor or something like that. You mold it into something beautiful and something for yourself that could help you in life, and to get that job, to get that degree, to get that relationship going, to communicate. Because language, being good at language and having clarity, as I began this talk earlier about, what I'm saying is that it could even help you in your relationships. It can help you articulate things. It can help you. And it's very beautiful. Some of you may be taking sociology and psychology classes, and you talk about communication within the family and how beautiful that is, instead of, and that's a tool. I'm not saying it's the only way. There's many ways of doing it. And don't try to feel sorry for your parents, because they know what they were getting into when they came here. They knew the struggle. They heard the stories. But at the same time, they found ways to figure it out, because they're that creative. And I don't want to take nothing away from them by telling you all of these things too, because they shouldn't be looked down upon, that they were unfortunately. You should look at them like heroes too, for going through that journey. And that's an inspiration in itself. Yeah.
Orale. I'm gonna call my mom and dad after this class. Misael, you're like, I love you. Hey, it's Mexican Mother's Day. I don't know about the rest of Latin America. Y'all better call your moms and mother figures, right? And caretakers, because it's a beautiful day. All right, hermano, hit us with another poem.
All right. Got another one. War makes everyone cringe at the sight of terror. A revolutionary responds with flavor. Words written on paper give it value and worth. Use a mic and make the crowd roar with metaphors. She's analyzing the times for contradictions. Social media lets you in. Everyone can't win. Your profile gives you a platform to learn a thing. Learn to shift conversations by imagining. She questions institutions and politicians. For every bomb drop, she rhymes lines as her mission. They incarcerate immigrants with tax money. Freedom is a luxury. Everyone ain't free. She be playing cards without sabotage. Focus on bright dreams instead of an entourage. Shuffling the card deck without looking at the cards. A set of cards for players from the boulevard. The system can be out-hustled by good folk. Every player plugged in the system can be woke. The sleeping giant toss and turn till awaken, noticing the dawn when it's done pissing the can. She be counting the queens and kings for trouble, understanding many get lost in the shuffle. Her keen eyes detects them under a sleeve or marked by a scratch when they're in need by greed. Nobody teaches you the right way to be great. You make choices and bet your own winnings at stake. The physical gets old and wears down every day. Only your light and spirit can provide better ways. She's like a sweet pearl from the ocean down under. It wasn't until I went so deep that I found her. Counting the political cards on the table when they wage war is always to fake freedom moves.
Oh man, that's dope. That's beautiful. And just everybody, I did post in the chat, Malika's on a plane, so let's think happy thoughts and love and light her way for her and her family safety. It can't be easy being on an airplane these days. Yeah, beautifully said. Anybody else have comments or questions for Misael? Misael is also really unique because you're getting some claps in the chat. He didn't query. I invited him to publish, and we all had like the same idea at the same time, but his poetry was so good that I wasn't going to pass it up, and he fulfills the Body Blues mission, right? We're moving towards a cooperative society using our art in whatever way we can, and he totally embodies that, or he wouldn't be the co-host in Radical Books and Activist. Dude is smart. I mean, he's like got novas going off in his brain. Nobody probably ever tells you that, but his analysis is beautiful and on point. Super amazing work. And I'm excited because once the book is out, I'm gonna take him on the road if I can, bring him out to Chicago to as many schools as I can. Virtual events that I think he would be very good at, and also maybe also speaking to first generation college students or writers that need a little more confidence, right? So I appreciate that part of the talk, and I'm I'm glad I streamed it because people need to hear the message. You know what I'm saying? I really think you said something that a lot of us feel in our hearts, but may not necessarily articulate as beautifully as you just did. You know, super dope. All right. Other comments or questions on this poem?
Yeah, more questions. I want to hear questions from you guys.
Yeah,
so I could get a, I
this
get a
is last
feel.
day's class.
I get a feel who you are by your questions and where you come from. And, you know, like I love that. So I love your questions. I hope you have questions or comments or statements.
Please do. This is the way you compliment Misael if he's not getting paid for this gig. Because he's so humble. He didn't let Jesus pay him.
Nah, I wouldn't. No, I'm good right now.
Oh, Malika, you're still with us. I thought you left. Never mind. We're still sending you love and light. Any comments or questions? Anybody want to uplift something that you learned from the poem or anything that Misael has said? Okay, Dariana says, I think that it takes so much talent to write about someone else. All right.
Yeah, I could talk about that. It takes talent to write about someone else. Yeah, it takes talent. It takes experience. It takes the pleasure of knowing that person. You know, if you know somebody, you want to write about somebody. Let's say you want to write to your mother. And you want to write to your mother and you want to say, thank you, I appreciate you for everything. And you're going through it, you're away, you're far from them, far from home, and you're just thinking about them. Since Mother's Day just passed by, let's talk about mothers. And you want to appreciate them. That's really, it takes, only you know how to write about your mother. Like, I can't write about your mother the way you will write about it. Can you wordplay along the way? Of course you can. Can you parlay with ideas and exciting concepts? Of course you can. Can you write your own structure? Can you make up your own structure? It doesn't have to be 12 syllables for every 4 lines. It could be 8 syllables and then 12 syllables and then 8 syllables and then 12 syllables or whatever, or 4 syllables in the first line and then 8 syllables in the next line. It could be short and sweet, condensed. You can flex, you can purposely mold it into becoming something elegant and beautiful with time. The important thing, like the young colleague of yours mentioned earlier, a lot of the times I get stuck, or not stuck, I get lost in the wondering of writing phrases and imagining lines that are yet to be born into my page. I think about it. A lot of us have that type of a skill. A lot of us go through life imagining things, inventing things in our mind. Do we ever sit down and write them? Do we ever sit down and say, Mom, you know what? Your dress is really beautiful. It makes your eyes stand out. You know, like, it's really beautiful to say these type of compliments. And as poor working youth that we grow up in, we're not used to receiving those type of compliments. Oh, you're so handsome, or you're so beautiful, or you're so loving, or you're so this or that. As bio kids, we're not used to receiving type of compliments. So we don't know how would I expect you to sit down and write a compliment towards somebody. I think it's very important that we have to allow ourselves to compliment ourselves first, you know. Stop hiding, stop feeling guilty about sending yourself compliments to writings, calling it affirmations. I am creative. I am wonderful. I am amazing. Writing these things down, repeating it to yourself every day is like saying a prayer. It's like an incantation, or it's like something like a magic voodoo spell you're doing on yourself, that I am smart. I am able to get through the day. Daily affirmations, you know, whatever you want to look at it, whatever perspective you come from, is important. And when you're able to bless somebody else with those type of qualities, imagine what happens. You blessed yourself, now you're blessing other people. And before you know it, you have a community that is dwelling on affirmations. Not dwelling, but like sitting on your affirmations, standing on your affirmations, because they get elevated. And it's not wrong to elevate your mom. How many times is a working class mom gonna be elevated after work? No, it's just gonna see, oh, you did your work, you clocked in, you clocked out, you know, whatever. Who does that for their mothers? You know, I know Tupac Shakur did that for his mother when he sang that song, Dear Mama, You Are Appreciated.
Aw.
There's no way I could pay you back, but my plan to show you that I understand. How beautiful was that? You know, and he wrote that. Just think, somebody told me he was like going back to, you get inspired. Somebody told me that he was in the bathroom. He was going number 2, and the song came to him, and he started writing. Again, the writing happens when you least expect it, and there's very important things. Yeah, it takes a special talent to write for somebody. It takes that talent. It usually starts with love. So thank you for bringing that up. Loving yourself through affirmations, loving your community, your body, your planet with beautiful affirmations is good. And it's always good to create a balance too, because it's not just because we talk so beautiful about one person doesn't mean we cannot talk about the shadow aspects and explore it, but bring those shadow things into the light. It takes serious meditation, serious talent, serious determination, because once you start doing that and your mind is happening all over your body, your molecules, your energy, your photons, your whatever they call it, is all being molded by those words that you're saying to yourself. The water, everything's being impacted by your vibration and things like that. So how is that not going to impact you? That's why they say a prayer is very important. It's been practiced for thousands of years, you know, like prayer is that powerful. You know, you're talking to the source, and you're talking to God, or you're talking to your ancestors. Imagine what kind of world that is, you know. Anyways,
You said you got
yeah.
another question. You got actually a couple questions. Fiona asks, are there any spaces you have to work on your poetry with other people, or do you prefer working alone?
There is a community of poets that would take a paper, each of them, like let's say there's 12 of us, and they each take a paper and they write one line, and they'll pass that paper to the left, and the next person will write another line, and then that paper will continue traveling towards the left, and each writer is writing a line, and within that self, a poem is created, and it's a collaboration, and they all form the poem. So it's a really beautiful thing to be a part of. As far as collaborating, I love collaborating. I'll take a hint from somebody when they say, maybe if you say it this way instead of that way. I dig that too, you know, especially when you're working on a publication, on a project, and it's a collective effort. Of course, you know, like outside feedback is good. Some of our best poetry. I got a poem that I collectively wrote with somebody. I could share that, which is a lot different from what I have here. I could share that. But you want to get into the questions?
Yeah, there's one more question. Dariana wants to know, have you written poetry in Spanish, and how is it different from writing in English, if it is?
Yes, I have written poetry in Spanish. I've been working on a Spanish poetry book. I use Google Translate to translate ideas.
Hey, I do too.
I first start with the Spanish that I know, my humble Spanish. I start with that, and I start writing ideas, and then I take it to someone that knows how to read Spanish. Because when I share my Spanish poetry with Spanish speakers, they say, yeah, le falta algo, like something is missing. They will say that, you could say it this way. It's not necessarily the way you say it, but that's not the correct way of saying it. But I know what you're saying is really nice, it's really beautiful. They'll tell you great things like that. And it's really nice to explore other languages. And I have a daughter, and she wants to learn Spanish. I want to continue getting better at Spanish, so we're gonna do something together as father and daughter to improve our Spanish. And I'm gonna write, get posters and start labeling things in the house, and just so she could see it and explore it. She loved the idea.
You want to know how my husband learned how to speak Spanish?
How?
He learned from watching telenovelas. Serio. And so when he came to visit my mom and dad for the first time, he could talk to them. I was like, the hell? But he would say some pretty naughty things and not know that they were bad too. So you gotta, well, you know better. But una vez we were at a Korean. My husband's Korean racially, but ethnically is white. We were at a Korean restaurant, and las señoras son, I mean, sorry, I'm saying the ladies who work there are Salvadoran, so they speak Spanish. And I talked to them. And one day my husband's like, mi amor, I know how to say something in Spanish. I'm like, oh yeah. And he said really loud, me duele el culo. He said my a-hole hurts really loud. And I was like, dude. And the little old ladies were looking at me like, what are you teaching him? And I'm like, oh, no. And I said, say something else. Come on, say something else. And he said, yo no sé. You don't teach me nothing. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? And so you just, God, you'll never forget that memory. Embarrassed the heck out of me. I didn't go back to that restaurant for like a long time after that. But
that's working class. That's how you could tell that was a working class person that taught them how to be in their Spanish mode, because some groseros, they're tricksters,
I don't think he learned that from the telenovelas, man. I don't know where he learned that.
He had to learn that from
I know, right?
A buddy that was just clowning, that was just like fooling with him, just so he could learn his lesson or whatever. But it had to be someone just clowning, because we do that stuff. Yeah.
Hey, we should do a team up, because I'm trying to teach my kids Spanish again, because they got resistant. When my little boy, I spoke to him only in Spanish. It was hard. And then he didn't want to learn Spanish anymore. He wanted to be part of the knitting club, not the Spanish club. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to fight you. And my daughter, who I didn't push it on, she knows more Spanish, but she speaks it like a gringuita. Mommy, where are my tacos? I'm like, so cute. I'm like, mija, say it again in Spanish. She sounds like a valley girl, dude. It's hilarious. Like, yeah. I don't want to be mean and take videotapes of her saying things in with her little American accent, but she's hilarious, man. She cracks me up. But I love that.
That's the best.
Like play loteria in español. I taught them how to play loteria, so they got really competitive. So they got to learn the words in Spanish. Although some of them are a little bit racist, but we talk about that too, and a little bit sexist, and we talk about that too. If you're not playing loteria, it's a lot of fun. Ahora pues, let's hear this collaborative poem, brother. I want to hear it.
All right. I use the pen like a needle, injecting life to blank sheets and cold streets hungry for heat. My muses are my nurses, assisting me with this emergency to uplift street curses. I photograph life with syntax, display x-rays with bone cracks ruptured with spirit and soul. I wipe time dust off ancient Zapotec stone and travel with words like vision calls painted on Los Angeles mural walls, dreaming for the fallen under billboards that graffiti mental halls. R.I.P. is sprayed in aerosol for little dreamers initiated into early falls from grace. I diagnose the disease, a fear-clogged artery streets, ailing with illiteracy, where many shades of skin read gang signs, tattoos, and grins, and some read the bling bling or beauty magazine tips, searching the stock markets or computer chips for truth. And the ancestors don't need proof of what's real to feel the rivers and winds, the moon and stars, the land and sun. And I understand those wounds, glowing in deep, sad darkness, blue moon, mad laughter, amber lava, rock, anger. And it's a gift to read these signs that align the universe with time, even more to write what I see, to find the medicine within me, pouring from my skeleton with love in poetic lines, these cable wires that I use to restore, something like that.
Beautiful, dude. So some of the students are crying because this has been a really interesting class and they don't want to go. But we are on at 4:00 every Sunday, just about, on Radical Books and Activists. In fact, that's the only thing I'm going to do on Sunday, because I'm taking Sundays off for my health and well-being, because I don't know how to take days off. But listen, Misael, this has been a thing of beauty, really beautiful. I can't wait to bring you to Chicago and host you and take you to all my favorite restaurants. You give me my littles and my husband. Bring your daughter, dude. It'll be nice to see, to have you and take you on the road so you can speak your truth to other people. But the poetry is beautiful. I really love your performance. It's getting better and better the more you do it, for sure. So he's gonna be out later in my next class if you want to join in. But we are on every Sunday at 4:00. Y'all are welcome to come on the show if you want to read your work. We often speak to each other in poetry. Yeah, I got my place to take in Little Village, dude. It's got an outdoor patio. Food is so good. Oh my gosh. I'm craving menudo and a cabeza de taco and tamales all at once. And I don't know what that's about. If I'm pregnant, I'll let you all know, but I'm hungry. Okay. Anyway, yeah, super dope. My spoken word wife playing for keeps coming out on Amazon. And if you want to, Mijo, drop your email so they can email you for a copy.
Can you email it to them?
My email is just tell to me. What is it?
Is Juarez Misael 28 at Gmail.
So if you want a copy of his book, send him your address, Juarez Misael 28 at Gmail. And then we'll get you a hard copy. I can't do it because it may look unethical, even though I don't make money off the press. But yeah, Dariana, mija, go ahead. I think we got one more question. Yeah.
It wasn't a question. I just wanted to say that if he does come, I feel like he will really like Little Village just because it's Mexican community, and it's just really nice. It's dangerous, but it's nice.
I'm not dangerous. I go there all the time. I got comrades in Little Village.
Professor, I live here and I'd be scared to go out sometimes, but
all right, mija, let's just be clear. I don't go late at night. I go like in the morning to have a bite to eat before everybody gets in the restaurant. I go visit my friends. That's where they live. I'm not going at night. I don't even go in my neighborhood at night, and it's safe, supposedly. Nah, there was a shooting recently in the park, kind of turned me off to the neighborhood a bit. But it happens, man. It happens everywhere in Chicago, which is a damn shame because it's such a beautiful city. Listen, Misael, hey, let's all unmute and let's give Misael a huge, huge round of applause. I think you did beautifully done. Kudos, man. So good, so good. They're virtually clapping. All right, A+ students, beautiful. Hey, sometime you should take a look at their work. So amazing. Once again,
I want to see it.
Dude, they're dope, totally dope. You can also join Penn in the City if you want, or you can come on the show, Radical Books and Activists, and read your work. And the other thing too is don't forget, please, don't be shy of submitting your work to Nation. If you got a poem that jives, or write a whole fresh poem, be happy to look at that. I did announce this, but some of you came late. If you post your short story too to be workshopped, I'm counting it as extra credit. So get your extra credits in. If you focus on anything and you haven't done so, because I've only gotten 11 midterm portfolios, turn in your midterm portfolio with a reflection, short story 1, and a flash fiction piece. Your second portfolio is going to include a cover letter, a short bio, try your best, and then a short story 2, a revised poem. And if you want extra credit, you can do either a scene or you can do creative nonfiction. I didn't offer, but if you want to talk to me afterwards about your portfolios, even after the term is over, let me know. I'm going to be here through mid-June. I'd be happy to chat with you about it and give you some pointers, maybe even some places where you can submit your work. That's not going to be a pain. But I'm so proud of you. This class has been tremendous, Misael. The quality of the work has been amazing, and I'm no doubt they'll continue on their path and be great writers. And thank you again, Misael. This has been beautiful. So please message him if you want a signed copy of the book. It'll most likely be paperback unless it'll most likely be paperback. And then the other thing too, pay attention to the announcements about deadlines. You can turn in all your work by Sunday, all of it. If you need a little more time, just let me know, but turn in any revisions by Tuesday so I can have time to grade and change it is Wednesday. Change your grade so I can give you the highest grade. And if there are any problems, just call me on the phone, let me know. And so that's where it's at. Yeah. Hey, this is good energy. All right, my brother, I will see you in a bit. I'm gonna actually let y'all go a little early because I need to go get some coffee, man. I'm dragging. But
I gotta get a little coffee too.
Shoes, man. It's a lot of work, brother. It's a lot of work. All right, peace.
Good work.
Hey, 2 letters of recommendation. If you need any letters of recommendation, please contact me. Again, you got my number. I write really good letters of recommendation. I have like good vibes because most of my students win scholarships. They get into the college they want. I'm not saying it's just because of my letter, but the letter helps. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being amazing students. Stay in touch. Know that I appreciate you all very much. Be ever blessed. All right. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Misael. You also have an awesome summer. Get some rest. Get some writing in. You got the link for the next class, brother? I'll message you via Facebook. All right. Thank you for watching. If you're not students, peace.